Okay, so this video is about the characteristics of blood, and eventually we're going to go into blood typing and how we solve problems associated with blood transfusions. So let's get started. So when we look at the components of blood, what blood is made from, we can break blood down into whole blood and plasma. First of all, whole blood. Whole blood is made from red blood cells, and I think you know the job of red blood cells is to carry oxygen around to other cells of the body. You know, red blood cells only live for a few months and then they die, and dead red blood cells are filtered out by your liver, filtered out by your spleen, and eventually excreted in your feces. It's kind of what gives your poop its dark color. We also look at white blood cells. White blood cells are another component of what is called whole blood, and I have a whole video on the immune system, but in general, white blood cells fight pathogens like bacteria and viruses. And then there's the third component of whole blood, what are called platelets, and these are fragments of cells that help aid in a clot if you ever have an injury. So here we have a vein with red blood cells and white blood cells, and pretend that you just this person just cut themselves, and as a result of the cut, look at this, they're bleeding. They're bleeding out red blood cells and white blood cells. Well, what happens are platelets are little cell fragments that will help clot and seal the injury. Now, platelets alone do not form a blood clot like this, but there's platelets and there's other clotting proteins that are involved. But in general, that's kind of the function of platelets. You know, when we look at this test tube or this vial of blood, we can put it in a machine called a centrifuge, and it'll spin the blood really fast and actually separate the whole blood from the liquid part of blood called plasma. The whole blood, the red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, they kind of sink to the bottom. And on top is this yellowish clear liquid called plasma, made up of 90% water. And what's dissolved in that plasma is a big list of solutes, and that's what you see right here. Amino acids are solutes. Salts and hormones and antibodies are solutes. These are all dissolved in the watery plasma. By the way, for those of you who might be looking for a good community service project, you know, donating to a plasma donation center. Your plasma will be collected and used to create all kinds of therapies to treat a variety of conditions and diseases. It's a great way to do some community service. So now I want to mention the different types of blood, the different groups of blood, and you're going to hear this referred to as the ABO blood groups or ABO blood types. And the reason the way that a blood type gets its name is based on what are called antigens. On the surface of red blood cells, there are these lumps of proteins called antigens, and we can symbolize these proteins with various letters of our alphabet here. If we zoom on in and we look at this red blood cell here, I'm not trying to imply that there are English-shaped A's on our red blood cells, but if you have type A blood, you have a protein on the surface of your red blood cells that we just call the A-type protein. If you have type B blood, you have various proteins on the surface of your red blood cells that we happen to call these proteins the B-type protein. This is an example of an antigen. If you have type AB blood, you have a combination, not just the A-type proteins, but also the B-type proteins. And so you have these two antigens. You have the A antigen and the B antigen. And if you have type O blood, you don't have either of those. So it's almost like a cell with no actually it is a cell that has no antigens, none of these proteins on its surface. And so the purpose of these antigens, the purpose of these proteins, is they help to identify cells that belong to yourself or cells that belong to a foreign invader, such as a bacteria, such as a virus. Our immune system will attack whatever enters our body that has a different set of antigens than our own. So the analogy I like to make is that antigens are like the jerseys of a sports team. Your immune system has the same jersey as all the other cells of your body. And if something gains entrance into your body, like a bacteria, like a virus, it's going to have a different jersey. It's going to have a different set of antigens. Your immune system will recognize that and then attack and destroy. You're often going to see antibodies kind of just illustrated as a Y-shaped protein. It is a protein, and the way that the amino acids are arranged, they actually are arranged in the shape of the letter Y. So it's very typical to just see them symbolically shown in a drawing, as in an animation, as just a Y-shaped item. And so here's a blood vein with some Ys traveling through the blood vein. So these Ys are symbolic of antibodies. And there's a virus, pretend. Well, notice there's little bumps sticking out of the body of the virus. Those little bumps are antigens. And because those antigens belong to the virus and not belong to our own body, our antibodies will recognize those little bumps, those antigens, and will attack. They'll attach to those little antigens and they'll cause the virus or the bacteria to be destroyed. I have a whole video on the immune system if you want to check that out, but that's the general idea. So let's focus on blood type A first. Again, remember blood type A has these A antigens on the outside of the red blood cells. Well, flowing through the vein in the plasma are these B antibodies. Antibodies, as we're going to learn, attack antigens. We just don't want our antibodies to attack our antigens. We want our antibodies to attack antigens of viruses and bacteria, not ourselves. So notice how the antigen A does not match the antibody B. If they did match, they would attack each other. So what would happen now if this virus that has B antigens on the outside were to somehow get into your blood? I hope you see what would happen. The B antibodies will attack and swarm, attach itself to those B antigens that are sticking out of the virus, and ultimately those B antibodies would destroy the virus. It's a great way for our immune system to keep us healthy. Well, what we have to be careful about is if in a blood transfusion, let's say this person who has type A blood lost a lot of blood and they were taken to the hospital and they were given somebody's blood type B. I hope you see a problem here. What would happen if you gave this person type B blood? Your antibodies would attack. Your body doesn't know the difference between this type B blood and the virus that had the B antigens you saw just a moment ago. Your immune system would attack this donated blood, and it would cause all of this donated blood to clump together and form little blood clots all throughout your veins, so it would stop blood flow and ultimately stop circulation, and the person would most likely die from this. So you have to be very careful. If we look at type B blood, notice how the antigens are different. Type B because they have the B antigens. So that's the definition really of type B blood. The red blood cells have the B antigens on their surface. That means they're going to have the A antibodies floating through their veins. The A antibodies are going to attack anything that has an A antigen, which would probably be a virus or a bacteria. So what would happen in our animation if a virus with A antigens were to somehow invade your blood? I hope you see that we have a defense for that. Those A antibodies would swarm, attach itself to the virus, and ultimately cause it to be destroyed. That's awesome. But we have to be careful because in a blood transfusion, if this person had type B blood and we accidentally gave them type A blood in the transfusion, our immune system is going to see that type A blood, and because we have A antibodies, or this person has A antibodies, those A antibodies will attack and swarm those A antigen blood cells, and would cause, like we saw a moment ago, all those blood cells to clump together, cause little blockages and little clots inside your veins and arteries, and chances are this person will not survive this mistake. What about type AB blood? Well, if they have type AB blood, notice on their red blood cells there's both the A protein and the B protein, the A antigen and the B antigen. Well, can you predict the antibodies that they will have? Will they have an A antibody? Will they have a B antibody? Will they have both? Will they have neither? Well, I hope you can see that they don't have either in this case, because if they did, if they had an A antigen, it would attack. I said that wrong. If they had an A antibody, if this person had an A antibody flowing through their veins, it would attack those A antigens you see in the picture. If this person had B antibodies flowing through their veins, it would attack the B antigens that you see in the picture. So what would happen if this person was invaded by the viruses below? Are there any antibodies to attack either of those viruses? I hope you see no. They don't have any antibodies to attack these viruses. So these viruses would have to be destroyed by other means, other parts of the immune system besides the antibodies. So in a blood transfusion, what if you gave this person has type AB blood, what if you gave them blood type A in a transfusion? Is there anything to attack that donated blood? What would happen if you gave this this person blood type A. Nothing bad's going to happen because there's no A antibodies to attack those A antigens. Same thing. What if you gave this person who has type AB blood, what if you gave them B blood in a transfusion? Do they have B antibodies to attack? No, they don't. So nothing bad is going to happen. It's safe. This person can accept type A blood you saw a moment ago, and they can also accept type B blood that you see right now. They don't have B antibodies to attack those B antigens. Nothing bad would happen. So let's look at the last blood type really quick. Type O, or group O blood. It's called group O oh no. Oh no means it doesn't have any of these antigens. No A antigen, no B antigen, so it's a red blood cell with neither of those antigens on its surface. So if they don't have the antigens, can you predict what antibodies they will have? I hope you saw a pattern with the other types of blood that we talked about. If they don't have an antigen, they do have an antibody. That's a pattern I hope you picked up on. So because they don't have an A antigen, they do have an A antibody. Because they don't have a B antigen, they do have a B antibody. So what would happen if this person was invaded by the viruses below? You can see the virus on the left has B antigens, and the virus on the right has A antigens. Well, I hope you would see that the antibodies that are flowing through the vein will attack. The virus on the top right, the A antigen virus, is going to be attacked by A antibodies, causing the virus to be destroyed. The virus that remains in the middle of the picture has B antigens. It's going to be attacked by B antibodies. They attach to the antigens, and antibodies are attached to one another, and the virus is destroyed. So think about a blood transfusion. What if this person has type O blood and you gave them someone's blood type A? Will this cause a reaction? I hope you can see that this would be a very dangerous situation, because they have A antibodies flowing through their veins. Those A antibodies would attach to the A antigens and would cause the blood to clump together, causing these little blood clots all throughout the person's veins and stopping circulation. This person would most likely not survive this mistake. Well, let's look at another situation. Again, they have type O blood, but what if you gave them type B in a transfusion? I hope you see another problem here. This person has B antibodies. Those B antibodies will think the body's under attack by a virus or a bacteria, and they're going to swarm and attack those blood cells that you're trying to give the person to save their life, causing the antibodies to react. It clumps up the entire group of cells there and causes little blood clots all over the person's body. They're probably not going to survive that mistake. What about this situation? What if you gave them type AB blood? I hope you see that this is a mistake as well. This would probably kill the person as well, because they have not just the A antibody, but also the B antibody. And the A antibodies will attach to the A antigens, and also the B antibodies will attach to the B antigens. And all these cells will clump together, causing little blood clots all throughout the person's body, and the chances are very high that the person is going to die from this mistake. So this is a really good place to pause the video if you just want to check out this table really quick to see what is the difference between antigen and antibodies of the various blood types. So pause the video if you like. I'm going to continue. So here's a little practice problem. Let's pretend that you have type A. I've covered the other blood types. Let's pretend you have type A. Can you receive type A blood, type B blood, type AB, and type O blood in a transfusion? Pause the video, think about it yourself. I'm going to go over the answers in 3, 2, 1. So you really want to look at what antibodies does the person have if they have type A blood. This person has B antibodies. These B antibodies will attack anything with a B antigen. Don't give this person any kind of blood with B antigens. So look at our list on the right. If you have type A blood, can you receive type A blood? Yes, because there's no B antigens in type A blood. The next one, if you have type A blood, can you receive type B blood? No, because type B blood has B antigens. That's why it's called type B blood. How about the next one? If you have type A blood, can you receive type AB blood? No, because there's a B in AB blood. That would cause the antibodies to attack. And then the last one, if you have type A blood, can you receive type O blood? Yeah, that's safe. Type O does not have B antigens. Here's another question right here. If you have type B blood, can you receive type A, type B, type AB, type O? Pause the video, think about it on your own. I'm going to go over the answers in 3, 2, 1. So if you have type B blood, you got to consider what antibodies does this person have. They have the A antibody. A antibodies will attack A antigens. Don't give this person anything with an A antigen. So if you're type B blood, can you get type A? No. Type A has an A antigen. If you have type B, can you receive type B? Yes, you can always receive your own blood type. The next one, if you have type B blood, can you receive type AB blood? No. Type AB blood has an A antigen. And lastly, if you have type B blood, can you receive type O blood? Yes, that's safe. Type O has no antigen, so there's nothing to attack. So I hope you see the pattern here. Here's type AB, same question. Pause the video. I'm going to go over the answers in 3, 2, 1. So if you have type AB blood, you have to remember that they don't have either A nor the B antibodies. So they don't have antibodies. Antibodies do the attacking, and this person doesn't have antibodies. That should tell you that all the blood types are safe. If they don't have antibodies, they don't have anything to attack the donated blood. So here's the last one. Again, pause the video. I'm going to start going over these answers in 3, 2, 1. So if you have type O blood, you got to remind yourself that there's 2 antibodies you have to be careful of. This person has an A antibody. Don't give this person anything with an A antigen. And they also have a B antibody. So don't give this person anything with a B antigen. So A and B antigens are off limits. So you go down the list. If you have type O blood, can you receive type A blood? No, because there's an A antigen on type A, and their A antibodies will attack it. The next one, if you have type O blood, can you receive type B blood? No, because type B blood has a B antigen, and this person has B antibodies. The next one, if you have type O, can you receive type AB? That's a double no. Type AB has A and B antigens. This person has A and B antibodies. And then the last one, if you have type O, can you receive type O? Yes, you can always receive your own blood type. So again, here's a good place to pause the video and just study this table if you want to see some of the differences between the antigens and antibodies of the various blood types. So the last thing I want to mention is what is called the Rh factor. You may have heard that some blood might be positive blood or negative blood. This is what we mean by the Rh factor. A person has positive blood, Rh positive. A person has positive blood if they contain another antigen called the Rh antigen. Remember, antigens are like jerseys. And in my picture, you can see that there's an A antigen in the picture. There's also an Rh antigen. That means this person has is blood type A positive. In this picture right here, you can see that there's a B antigen and an Rh antigen. This is blood type B positive. In this picture right here, you can see there's A antigens and B antigens, and now I've also added Rh antigens. This person's blood type is AB positive. And in this picture right here, hey, there's no antigens, but now I've just added the Rh antigens. So if there's only Rh antigens, this is blood type O positive. So if we look at all 4 of them together, notice what they all have in common. The positives all have the Rh antigen in common. Well, if you have an antigen, you do not have an antibody. That's a pattern I hope you picked up earlier. And so if you're positive, if you're blood type positive, then you can receive positive or negative blood in a blood transfusion. We're going to go over some of the reasons why in just a few moments. So what's it mean to have negative blood type? If you have a negative blood type, that means that you lack this Rh antigen. So cells lack the Rh antigen. Right now in the picture there's A positive, but if I take away those Rh's, it's not A positive anymore. Now that's blood type A negative. A moment ago we saw this, type B positive, but if I take away those Rh's, it's not B positive anymore, it's just B negative. A moment ago we saw this, AB and RH, that's AB positive. But if I take away those RHs, it's not AB positive, it's just AB negative now. And a moment ago we saw this, only RHs is O positive. But if I take away those RHs, it's not O positive, it's O negative. So when you look at the 4 blood types that are negative, look what the one thing they all have in common is that they lack the Rh antigen. But they do contain the Rh antibody. I hope you picked up on the rule. If you have an antigen, you don't have an antibody. If you don't have an antigen, you do have an antibody. And if you have this Rh antibody, that means you're only going to be able to receive negative blood. If you have negative blood and you were to receive positive blood in a transfusion, you're probably not going to survive that mistake because the Rh antibodies will attack the positive Rh antigens. So if we look at this picture here, here are the 8 different blood types, the 4 positives and the 4 negatives. Think about what blood type are you? Well, around the world, about 34% of people around the world are A positive. 9% are B positive. 3% are AB positive. 38% are O positive. 6% are A negative. 2% are B negative. Only 1% are AB negative. And only 7% are O negative. So the positives are the much more common blood types around the world. But if you might know what blood type you are, and then you can just kind of see where you fit into this. So let's go over a few practice problems. Let's pretend that a person has blood type B positive. Begin by thinking, what antigens does a person have? Well, if they're B positive, they do not have an A antigen. If they're B positive, yes, they have a B antigen. And the positive means yes, they have an Rh antigen. So what antibodies do they have? Well, the pattern I hope you picked up on earlier is if you don't have an antigen, you do have an antibody. So this person does not have an A antigen, so yes, they have an A antibody. They're just opposites. If you have a B antigen, you do not have a B antibody. If you have an Rh antigen, you do not have an Rh antibody. So you look at this question right here. What blood types can safely be donated to this person? If you're B positive, you have to keep in mind that if you're B positive, this person has A antibodies. Like my note says, don't give this person anything with an A antigen. Look at the 8 choices at the bottom. Cross out any choice that has an A in it. That would be A positive. That would be A negative. That would be AB positive. That would be AB negative. The other 4 choices are safe. These 4 choices that I crossed out, you would accidentally kill this person, most likely kill the person if you gave them the wrong blood type. Here's another practice problem. Go ahead and pause it this time and try to solve it. I'm going to go over the answers in 3, 2, 1. So if you're AB positive, what antigens do you have? AB positive. You have the A, you have the B, and the positive means yes, you have the Rh antigen. So what antibodies? Well, if you have an antigen, you don't have an antibody. So here's the question you saw a moment ago. Which blood types can be safely donated to this person? All of them. Since antibodies attack, and this person has no antibodies, they don't have anything to attack donated blood. All of these are safe. That's why AB positive is called the universal acceptor, the universal receiver. They can receive, they can accept any type of blood out there. How about this one? If you're O positive, what antigens do you have? Pause the video. I'm going to go over the answers in 3, 2, 1. If you're O positive, O means no. No, you don't have an A. No, you don't have a B. But the positive means yes, you have an Rh. So what antibodies? Again, the rule is if you have one, you don't have the other. So if you don't have an antigen, yes on the A antibody, yes on the B antibody. But they have an Rh antigen, that means they will not have an Rh antibody. So here's that question you saw, which blood types can safely be donated to this person? You have to keep 2 things in mind. First thing, they have an A antibody. So don't give this person anything with an A antigen. Look at the bottom. Cross out everything with an A antigen. I just crossed out 4 of them that have A antigens. But the second thing we have to keep in mind, they also have a B antibody. So they also have B antibodies. So don't give this person anything with a B antigen. And I just crossed out the last two that had B antigens. The ones that are not crossed out, O positive, O negative, those are safe. Here's another one. If you have AB negative, what antigens does this person have? AB means they have the A and the B. The negative means no on the Rh antigen. So what antibodies do you have? It's either one or the other. If you have an A antigen, then no on the A antibody. If you have a B antigen, then no on the B antibody. And if you don't have an antigen, then yes, you're going to have the antibody. So here's that question with the 8 blood types. Which blood types can safely be donated to this person? Well, this person has Rh antibodies. Be careful. You don't want these Rh antibodies to attack anything. So what do Rh antibodies attack? They attack Rh antigens. And what kind of blood has Rh antigens? Positive blood. So eliminate all the positive options. The other 4 negative options are safe. Here's another one. Type O negative. What antigens does this person have? O means no. No on the A, no on the B. The negative means no on the Rh. So if they don't have any of those antigens, I hope you see the pattern. Yes, yes, yes on the 3 antibodies. So here's the question of these 8, what can safely be donated to this person? Start with antibody A. This person has antibody A. It will attack A antigens. Cross out everything that has an A antigen. I just cross out those 4 because they all have A antigens. We're not done though. This person also has B antibodies. B antibodies will attack B antigens. Cross out any choices that have B antigens. And I just crossed out those 2. We're not done yet though, because this person has a third antibody. This person has the Rh antibody, which will attack Rh antigens. Cross out any of the remaining choices that have Rh antigens. That would be positive blood. So the only one that's not crossed off, if you're O negative, you can only receive O negative. So there you go. If you're in my biology class, you can pause this video and try to answer these review questions right here. I'd love to check your answers either before school or after school one day. So bring them on in. I'll check them over for accuracy. And good luck. Pause the video and try to solve them.